letting China get away with murder, like we always do, okay? This stuff, the raw materials come from China, pass through Mexico, and then come across the border, the open border. So I don't see why we can't do something. I don't want necessarily more government laws insofar as people who are using it, okay? That's a death warrant, and they have to figure that out for themselves. I'm very glad that you don't use it. I'm very glad.
Not to brag.
I've been,
Yeah.
you know, I've been down that road
I
myself and been sober a long time, thankfully, gracefully, with God's help. But I do think those who sell it should be in deep trouble, whether it's capital punishment or something very difficult. And I do think this president should wake up and see what this open border and unlimited illegal immigration is doing to this country insofar as drugs and crime and sex and all the rest of it. It is an absolute nightmare. And he just stands there or sits there or does something there, nothing to solve the problem.
I do wonder about the sex part of that.
Ew.
But, Tyrus, would you like to?
I did not wonder about the sex part of that. Everyone has strong points, but I'm just going to break it down to how I look at it. If we change the name to fentanyl to anthrax, everyone would be having a heart attack right now. And what does fentanyl do that anthrax doesn't do? It's the same thing. You get it on your fingers, it can poison you. It gets in your food, it can poison you. You breathe it in, it can poison you. So is it a drug or is it a poisoning? And we know where it's coming from, and we know how it's getting in here. So I don't care what you call them, but they're poisoning Americans. And the reason why I don't look at it the same way as a drug, because, and as you pointed out in your monologue, no one is going out on a fentanyl run. So it is being used as a poison, disguised to attack the weakest part of our society. So it is a poisoning. And again, just call it anthrax. And imagine we had one envelope of anthrax sent to the White House, and the entire world stopped. We literally have tons of anthrax being pushed through our border. So to me, I look at it like an act of war. But the problem is it's affecting the lowest point of our society. And until, unfortunately, someone in the White House goes through a fentanyl poisoning or losing a loved one, then maybe they'll look at it as for what it is. So I look at it as a terrorist attack. I don't want people watching my house, but if that means that we're going to do something about this poisoning of America, then I'm all for it. But again, just change the word for 1 second and think how you look at it.
I think when you talk about, just quickly, of course, fentanyl, when it does have legitimate medical uses in a medical setting, but when you're expecting your drug to be one thing and your fentanyls and your cocaine, then that absolutely is not an overdose. It is a poisoning. All right. Up next.